Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're good. I hope you're enjoying yourself. This video here will be exploring a small stereotype, a generalization that it appears can be made. I've been here for a while now dealing and speaking against generalizations that Katlego has been making. So while doing that, I came across this video that really made me laugh because it's actually a generalization that is said to be correct about black men. So we are getting off of Katlego's insults for a while to check out a video that I think a bunch of guys would actually enjoy. And a bit more context to the ladies who might also be watching this. Katlego has made a video in the past where she attacks black women's shapes. If you want to know how really sick a project this is, how well paid she is and how far she's willing to go, she has attacked the shape of black women. You've seen that many times.
It has become an obsession in our nation. We have a bunch of women who are now nothing without their buttocks. Buttocks, buttocks, buttocks. Our women are now prioritizing buttocks, and oh, how the men encourage it. We now have men who clap hands and cheer debauchery and disgusting behavior from women. Shows like Mubango and channels like Mzansi Magic are bringing you these prosties right to your dinner table during prime time, with your sons and daughters watching. They know that South Africans are idiots. They will keep watching. In fact, South Africans can't wait to see which big buttocks we bring them tonight.
Okay, doesn't matter. Hey, Manny, come here. You are going to say vows to each other.
Vows?
Yeah, just hold on. That's Emma, more. Let's practice a perfect move. Okay, let's go.
She even attacks the shapes of teenage girls. You know, she says, yeah, it's these curves and figures that keep getting us pregnant. You understand? So it's hatred towards the black woman. It's hatred towards the black child. It's hatred towards everything that is black. So let's laugh a little bit, man. Let's laugh a little bit while racists are out here trying to attack everything about us. Our skin color, our shapes, the way we talk, the way we walk, where we live, our circumstances. It's time now to laugh. The pity is over in South Africa. The gloves are off. It's been 30 years. The white people have given the black people 31 years to turn around 300 years of slavery. So now they are deciding, we're done with this. We're sick of black people. We're sick of their complaints. We're sick of anything that they have to say. Now it's just time to tell them how stupid and how low class, the kind of losers that they are. So, man, let's just laugh a little bit. We'll be back dealing with that rubbish very soon. Check this out.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny.
The elephant in the room is this. Why do black men like big butts? And is that even true, or is it just another wrong racial stereotype? They're questions that have launched 1,000 rap lyrics and even a few scientific studies. Hey, I'm Ken LaCourte. Here, I try to give you a fair and balanced look at geopolitical issues, awkward questions around race and gender, our uncomfortable history, and of course, the female backside. So I dug in to try to figure it out. And what I found...
So for all of you who are uncomfortable with conversations about race, I think you need to come very quickly into the future. Here's a guy who deals with these kinds of issues. He speaks about them candidly, without nastiness, without casting aspersions, without malice. Yeah, without the kind of malice that Katlego exhibits. So let's have a listen to some issues of race, and we are dealing here with the booty.
What I found surprised me. It goes way deeper than pop culture or Instagram likes. We'll look into the evolutionary roots of why men find certain shapes attractive, the contrasting beauty standards between African and Europeans, and how they've changed over time but persisted in African American culture. And let me get my own biases out of the way first. For all my life, I've been a small butt guy. So I was fascinated at how millions of men came to the opposite conclusion. But first, let's make sure that question is fair. Do black men, in fact, love big butts more than others? And can I generalize about an entire race's preferences? Actually, yes, I can, especially when there's solid science backing it up. And on this, the science is clear. Black men love big butts, and it's not even debatable. Now, I know some of you are going to think guys of all races like big butts, and that's true, but there's a spectrum of preferences within every group. And the data consistently shows that race plays a significant role in backside desires. Let's start with some data. A study by the University of Texas found that African American men are twice as likely to prefer a large rear compared to their white counterparts. But it's not just a black and white issue.
You heard that? So white guys would really prefer a small booty. They want the smallest booty that they can find. The science.
The study also found that Latino men share this preference, but to a lesser degree than the African American men. And dating site statistics back this up as well. When researchers analyzed the body type preferences selected by users on popular dating platforms, they found clear differences between racial groups. Again, African American men were far more likely to search for thicker, curvier body types compared to white men. And interestingly, it's not just about the size of the prize. It turns out that there's an ideal angle of the dangle. The University of Texas study found that men overwhelmingly preferred a 45-degree curve at the lower spine. This magic...
There's a curve measurement in the science, yo. So this is seriously detailed. Sorry to be talking while eating, yo.
...degree curve at the lower spine. This magic number held true across all races, but researchers noticed that the desired degree of curvature was most exaggerated among African American men. But wait, there's more. It's not just about the back, it's about the waist to hip ratio, to be precise. Studies show that the preferred ratio differs significantly by race. African American men tend to prefer a more extreme contrast between a small waist and large hips, while white men generally prefer a more moderate difference. So why is this the case? How did these different beauty standards develop? Is it nature or nurture that's shaping these preferences? Specifically, why did African American beauty standards evolve to prefer curvier figures in the first place? Now, at its base level, there are biological and environmental factors at play. In historical Africa, a bigger body made a lot of evolutionary sense. The continent's harsh climate and inconsistent food supplies meant that some extra body fat could literally be the difference between life and death during lean times. It meant strength. It meant health. Larger bodies were also better equipped to handle the physical demands of manual labor and childbearing, essential for survival. In an environment where resources were scarce, curves became a visible marker of health, wealth, and fertility. Now here's where it gets less clear. Was it really men choosing fuller women over skinnier ones? Or is it that given the environment, those that thrived had those bodies? I mean, the things that we see are the things that we covet, and if that's what you saw, that's what you're going to love. Now, those traits aren't unique to Africa, of course. Throughout history and across many cultures, fullness has been linked to fertility and vitality. But in the context of African environments, these biological signals seem to take on an especially important role. As African societies developed, the evolutionary preferences became encoded into cultural beauty standards. Artwork from across the continent celebrated the fuller female form, from ancient rock art to traditional sculptures. When Europeans arrived with their own beauty standards, many African cultures actively resisted these impositions.
Yeah, when the Europeans arrived, they just had problems with the big booty, which is exactly what Katlego is up to. She is sharing and promoting a very well-known archaic stereotype or exclusion of or preference against big booties. It's what the colonialists did, and she's playing out that role to the T, wanting to see who's gonna get triggered, who's gonna get pissed off by her being a black woman who sounds like a white man in 1652. We're being clowned, yeah.
Maintaining traditional aesthetics became a form of cultural preservation and identity in the face of oppression. Now fast forward to today, and we can see how these deep-rooted preferences continue to shape beauty standards in the African American communities. Cultural artwork, from jazz album covers to hip-hop music videos, has consistently celebrated curvier body types. There's also been a strong community emphasis on resisting mainstream beauty standards that are often rooted in European ideals. For many, embracing fuller figures is a way of kind of honoring their cultural heritage and identity. So maybe the preference for larger body types among black men isn't just a superficial trend, but a result of thousands of years of evolutionary adaptations and cultural traditions. But what about white preferences? While African beauty standards remain relatively stable, European ideals took a wild ride. Back in the day, Europeans liked those big booties too. Renaissance paintings are full of voluptuous women, ample curves. Rubens, the 17th century Flemish painter, was so famous for his full-figured nudes that we still use the term Rubenesque to describe them today. But then something happened. Europe industrialized. And with it came a seismic shift in beauty standards. The Industrial Revolution wasn't just about factories and steam engines. It also changed food production, making calories cheaper and more abundant than ever before. Suddenly, being plump wasn't a sign of wealth anymore. Anyone could do it. So the upper classes needed a new way to distinguish themselves. Enter the corset. Nothing says, I don't need to work for a living, like a waist that you can't breathe in. Thinness became a new status symbol. The Victorian-era doubled down on the trend. They associated thinness with moral purity and self-control. Bigger women? They were seen as lazy and lacking willpower. Talk about a 180-degree turn. Fast forward to the 20th century and things get even more intense. The rise of mass media, magazines, movies, TV, started beaming these new ideals into every home. Fashion magazines pushed increasingly thin models. Hollywood starlets got skinnier. By the 1960s, we had Twiggy, literally named after a twig, as a top beauty icon. But here's the kicker. While European standards were changing, African beauty ideals stayed relatively stable. Many African societies industrialized more slowly, some still haven't. So the pressures that shifted European ideals weren't as intense. But come back to America for a second. Black Americans live in an industrialized society too. Why haven't their preferences changed? And it's a good question. And it's because African American culture developed its own unique identity. During slavery, Black Americans created a distinct counterculture. Rejecting white standards became a form of resistance, and strong oral traditions and tight-knit communities kept cultural preferences strong, even as the broader society changed around them. And at the same time, white America basically rejected them. Forced segregation created parallel societies with different values. It limited the influence of mainstream media and strengthened the internal community bonds. For blacks, the concept of America's melting pot happened a lot more slowly. Even as Black Americans gained more access to mainstream culture, there was often a strong pushback against whitewashing beauty standards. The Black is Beautiful movement of the 1960s is a great example. Today, we're seeing some interesting convergences. Mainstream beauty standards are becoming more inclusive of curvier figures. Now, is this a genuine appreciation? Or is it marketing exploitation? Or is that all intermixed? I don't know. So the next time you see a Renaissance painting or a modern fashion magazine, remember, beauty standards aren't set in stone. They're as changeable as the societies that create them. Hey, just a reminder that if I mess up any facts here, as always, I'll address it in a pinned comment below. But when you think about it, even this video is coming at things from a European standpoint. From an African point of view, the question isn't what I posed, but instead, why do white guys like small butts? And that hits at something deeper. For centuries, European standards dominated global beauty. They owned the magazines, they controlled the fashion houses, they ran the movie studios. They got to tell everyone else what beautiful meant. But nature's a stubborn thing. Those African preferences that developed over thousands of years weren't just random choices, they were rooted in biology. But recently, something's changed. Now, maybe it was the internet democratizing beauty standards, maybe it was the rise of hip-hop culture, but what's really going on is more interesting than just preferences. We're watching centuries of parallel beauty standards finally collide. Now, some say it's cultural appropriation, others call it progress. But here's what they're missing. African American beauty standards didn't just survive. In some ways, they're winning the cultural war. Kim Kardashian helped build an empire by copying black beauty ideals. So it's certainly possible that Sir Mix-a-Lot was a philosopher ahead of his time. I find that interesting, but not interesting enough to change the team I'm on. So look, this video about body preferences is pretty lighthearted, but in recent years we've seen the body positivity movement turn into something that's deadly toxic. Our media and our society went from trying to be nice to overweight people to something that celebrated and encouraged radically dangerous lifestyles. It's like some people lost their minds. I dug into the ugly underside of that and saw that it was driven by politics and profit. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm active in the comments below and hope that if you find this interesting, you'll join me again. Take care.
Yeah, that's it with the video. We've been looking at some signs of the behind, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got to learn something, and for a little bit we can chill out and relax. Like, comment and subscribe if you like big booty. If you don't like big booty, small booty is available for you within your race there. Peace out. I'll see you next time.